This is lesson 5.2 on reflections. Before watching the recording, make sure you have a graph piece of paper in front of you, a pencil, a straight edge, and a different colored pen. Make sure that you jot everything down as you see it here on the video, and anything that I do in black ink, you should be doing in pencil on your page. Now, reflections is a second type of geometric transformation that we're dealing with in this unit. The first one was a translation, where we dealt with polygons or shapes moving either left or right, and or up or down. Now this time we're actually going to reflect, we're going to practice reflecting images using and dealing with a line of symmetry. So remember that if something is symmetrical or symmetry, and oops, please jot this down. Symmetry deals with basically if you have both, refers to both sides of an image or shape are equal to each other. Now, what's key with dealing with reflections is the line of symmetry. So whenever you have a line of symmetry, I'm just going to put down line here in brackets. When you're reflecting something, it has to be exactly similar on the other side of the line of symmetry. So what you're going for is a mirror image. Now, what you need to do is on your page, you need to create an XY coordinate grid. As we've done in class, please do it 10 by 10 on both the X and Y axis. And don't forget to label everything. Now, I'm only going to go as far as you can see on the screen here. And as I said before in class, make sure it is easier if you go up by ones on both the X and the Y axis, just so you see the reflection lines, or when we're reflecting the images, it's easier to do. So go ahead and do that. Again, if you need to pause the recording to catch up to me, please feel free to do so. Now, we'll do triangles to make it simple here. And the other thing that we have to do in this case is we're going to draw a line of symmetry where x equals 5. So again, I'm just going to jot down up here, line of symmetry, where x equals 5. Okay, so what I mean by that, it's going to be a vertical line of symmetry on our graph. And I'm just going to draw it up as far as here. Now again, go up to 10 on your y-axis, but for the purposes of this video, I'm only going to go up to 6 here. Okay, so where x equals 5 on the x-axis, we're drawing a line of symmetry. Let's start off with a triangle as we did in a previous lesson. So let's do point A is going to be at 1, 3. Point B is going to be at 3, 4. Point C is going to be at 3, 2. When you finish plotting these points, please draw a straight line to connect them all. Okay? So again, A is at 1, 3, B is at 3, 4, C is at 3, 2. Now, remember we said at the top is the line of symmetry on the other side. We want the mirror image of this triangle on the other side. We're not changing the size, but we're going to reflect it across this line of symmetry, meaning that this triangle and each point has to be the same amount of spaces away from the line of symmetry on both sides of it. For example, if we look at point A, and I'm going to do this in a different color, and I'm going to count, A is 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away from the line of symmetry on this side. Therefore, A prime has to be 1, 2, 3, 4 places away from the line of symmetry. I'm going to do this in green, and I'm going to label A prime. A prime on the other side ends up at 9, 3. Okay? Now, Let's do the next one here. And if you want to go ahead and do B and C prime on your own, pause it and then just check your answers with me after you've done it. Please feel free to do so. I'm going to continue with B. B on this side is 2 spots away from the line of symmetry, so I'm going to count 2 spots away from the line of symmetry here. And I want to do green here. I'm going to label that at B prime. B prime is at 7, 4. Okay, now let's do C prime. C on this side is 2 spots away from the line of symmetry. Same thing, C prime is 2 spots away from the line of symmetry on this side. They always have to be the same distance on either side, and we label C prime at 7, 2. We connect here, and we end up with a triangle here. And I'm going to shade this out. I'm just going to shade this out here so that's clearly the image. Remember to label your image prime as we did with translations because that's the image. Notice we have an exact mirror image of the original on the other side. The other thing I want you to notice is a pattern. Look at the coordinates here and compare it from this side to this side. What you'll notice, and I'll underline this in blue, is if you look at the y values here, you have the y value for A being 3, the y value for B being 4, the y value for C being 2. Notice on this side, the y value for A prime is 3, the y value for B prime is 4, and the y value for C prime is 2. What you can conclude is that if the line of symmetry is vertical, the y values stay the same because you're just reflecting it vertically, or sorry, you're actually reflecting it horizontally, but your line of symmetry is vertical. I'll say that one more time. When your line of symmetry is vertical, your y values from the original to the image will stay the same. Okay? Now, doing that, let's do a different type of reflection. We're going to do a horizontal type of reflection next time. So, extend your page, or if you need more room, go onto the back side of your page. Do the same thing as before. You need to set up an XY coordinate grid going from 0 to 10 on both. Please make sure you do a different grid. Okay, now I've completed my new XY coordinate grid. So if you need to pause and catch up, please feel free to do so. I'm going to continue. Now, up here, I'm just going to jot down our line of symmetry this time is going to be horizontal, where y equals 3. So that means on the y-axis, where it equals 3, we're going to draw a horizontal line of symmetry like this. Okay? Doesn't matter how long it is, because this is going to be our key mirror line, where, remember, we're going to get the mirror image of the original across that way. Okay, let's do triangles again because they're the easiest to work with. So let's do point A is going to be at 3, 5. Okay. Point B is going to be at 5, 2. Okay. And point C we're going to have at 6, 5. Again, connect the dots once you're finished and make sure everything is clearly labeled. Remember, I'm putting the coordinates here as a guide so you know where to plot them. So remember what we did in the previous example is that each point or each vertex of this triangle has to be the same distance away from the line of symmetry as it is on the other side. So let's start off with A again and go in alphabetical order. I'm going to count off the spaces in red pen again. So if A is at 3, 5, we're going to make sure that it's 2 spots away from the line of symmetry on this side, therefore it's 2 spots away from the line of symmetry on this side. So then we plot A prime, and don't forget to label it prime. A prime is going to end up at 3, 1. Do the same thing with B. We know B is only one spot away from the line of symmetry, therefore it has to be another spot away from the line of symmetry on that side, on the other side. So new B prime is going to be at 5, comma 2. Again, if I'm going to, 5, comma, oops, you know what, I made a mistake earlier, guys. Okay, that should be at 5, comma 4. Okay, B prime should be at 5, comma 2. Okay, so again, B is only one spot away from the line of symmetry, and B prime is at 5, comma 2. Now, with C, do the same thing. If you can figure it out on your own, pause the video and then catch up later on. C is 2 spots away from the line of symmetry on that side, therefore on the other side it's 2 spots away from the line of symmetry on this side. So therefore C prime is going to be at 6, comma 1. So connect the dots when you're finished on the image side and shade it out so it's distinct from the original. You must make sure that you label your points prime. Okay? Now, again, I'm going to ask you to notice a pattern with the coordinates. This time, because our line of symmetry is horizontal, it goes through where y equals 3. Look at what pattern is emerging with the coordinates. For example, if we look at A, the x-coordinate is 3. If we look at A prime, the x-coordinate is also, the x-coordinate is also 3. If we look at B, the x-coordinate is 5. If we look at B prime, the x-coordinate is also 5. If we look at C, the x-coordinate is 6. And if we look at C prime, the x-coordinate is also 6. Therefore, we can make another conclusion here that when the line of symmetry is horizontal, the x-coordinates stay the same and the y values change. Again, I'm going to repeat that. When the line of symmetry is horizontal, the x-coordinates or the x values stay the same. The y values change. And remember, this is opposite from the previous example. Now, keep scrolling down on your page. Do one more xy coordinate grid and go from 0 to 10 on both. This would be a good point to pause the video because I am going to pause it here and do my own. Okay, so again, do a new xy coordinate grid. Go from 0 to 10 ideally on both axes, but unfortunately I only have room to go up to 5 on the y. This time, your line of symmetry is going to be diagonal. And you're going to try to make it as exact as possible. You're going to cut through the origin 0, 0, and you're going to cut through all the way, all those squares leading from the origin. Make sure you're diagonally in half all the way along. Okay? Now, let's do a triangle again. Okay, let's do A is going to be at 2, 1. Okay, let us do B, which is going to be at 4, 1. And then C is going to be at 4, 2. Now I'm going to join them again. Once you're finished, make sure you join it. Now, this type of reflection is a bit more tricky because you still want to get the mirror image, but you're looking at it and you're going to be counting the spaces on a diagonal. Now there is going to be a shortcut with the pattern of the coordinates, which we'll point out later on. So this time you're going to actually turn your page and look at it diagonal. Okay. Whoops. Okay, so if we look at, for example, A is technically like half a square away from the line of symmetry on this side. So on the other side it's going to be half a square away, and we're going to label that A prime on this side. Okay, A prime is now at 1, 2. Okay, now B is at 4, 1, and we're going to do it 1. Oops. Okay, at this point, I've run out of room to do the rest of the recording in this session, so please click on the next video, 5.2 Reflections, Part 2, and we will continue.